Hello everyone, I'm Ferdy Salvador. Join us in unlocking the tricks of the trade here on Trade Talks. Let's get down to business. Out of destruction comes reinvention. When Mount Pinatubo erupted more than 3 decades ago, it covered vast areas, several Luzon provinces with ash. That volcanic soil will eventually lead to the birth of Iba Botanicals, with plants that produce export quality oils and another product, which is agarwood, which can be worth a whopping $100,000 per kilo. Let's find out more about this agribusiness. We'll be speaking with Ben Mead. He is the founder and CEO of Iba Botanicals. Good morning, Ben. Thank you so much for coming on the High Life here in Trade Talks.
Thank you for having me.
So, you've been in the country for about 10 years.
Right.
What's the lure and the anchor that kept you here?
Sure. So I'm an Australian. I haven't lived in Australia for a long time. I was in the US for a period, but initially moved down here investing in the power sector. So my background's in finance and investment, but quite quickly realized the potential for high-value premium Philippines botanicals. People think about agriculture in the Philippines that maybe it's not so lucrative, or maybe it's more work than it should be. But by connecting international markets with premium Philippines botanicals, we've really been able to put the Philippines on the map as a supplier to the fragrance and flavor industry.
Yeah, so that's become your anchor in the Philippines.
Very much.
And I heard that you are trying to become a naturalized citizen. Is that true?
Yes, it's underway.
That's very exciting.
Yes.
And what does that mean for you, both on the personal and the professional side?
Oh, it's really just a recognition of the fact that I've committed the last 10 years of my life to being here in the Philippines, advancing advocacy in the Philippines, whether it's for the farmers or non-profit initiatives that we have through the Mead Foundation. And so for me, it's just it's a nice recognition. And I plan on staying in the Philippines. I'm not planning on leaving, and so I feel like I'm Filipino by heart. It would be nice to be Filipino as well, by passport.
But that's interesting, because obviously there's a lot of things that you can do here, and botanicals is not a popular industry in the Philippines. It seems like you're one of the pioneering individuals to start something like Iba Botanicals. Why did you start it? What's the main drive for that, and why did you choose certain botanicals to produce?
So you're correct. We are the pioneer of this industry in the Philippines. Sometimes it takes an outsider's perspective with an insider's or a local knowledge to put everything together. And essentially, I recognize the opportunity that the global fragrance and flavor industry. So this is everything from fine fragrance, like you'll find in Rustans, through to consumer goods, whether it's toothpaste or cleaning products or personal care products, whatever it may be. There's an increasing trend to wanting to source very high quality, natural ingredients that can be provided on a consistent and reputable scale. And so the Philippines has the highest number of unique plants and animals in the world. So 70% of the flora and fauna in the Philippines is endemic. That's higher than Brazil, Costa Rica, any country on earth. So,
wow, thank you so much for my education. I didn't know about that. But out of this percentage,
so really what I recognized was that there are a number of countries around Southeast Asia that are producing high-value botanical extracts at scale, supplying into Europe, US, and elsewhere. But really nothing was being done in the Philippines. And so I was able to put together the model that really works. And to do that, we have to work at scale. We have to work with a large number of communities. So, for instance, in Zambales, which is our first site, we work with 400 to 500 Aita, indigenous Aita.
Wow.
And so you really have to go big, and you have to focus on premium quality. You have to focus on best practice, supply chain, traceability, and things like this.
And what botanicals do you produce in your farm in Zambales?
So currently we produce ilang ilang,
Okay, which is a high value botanical essence.
Very much, very much. And it's native to the Philippines, but in the 1940s, the production moved to Madagascar.
So we've exported our seeds to Madagascar, which I know is now the leading producer of ilang-ilang in the world.
Yes, but we're bringing the Philippines back. So the quality that we produce at, same species of ilang-ilang, produces an oil that is a far superior quality. So we're seeing a lot of excitement on our ilang-ilang.
Yes.
Beyond the ilang-ilang, we're also producing elemi oil. So this comes from the resin from the pili tree.
Yes.
So the pili tree is only grown in the Philippines. It occurs, in the forest in the Philippines, nowhere else on the planet. A lot of people don't know is that you can tap the pili tree like a rubber tree, and it gives a resin. And from that resin, you can produce oil that's very sought after in the fragrance industry. So
I'm actually quite familiar with elemi.
Oh, you are?
Yes,
Fantastic.
it's funny.
Fantastic.
But what about in the global market? Just to put a scale to it.
Sure. So
how much would let's say a liter of ilang-ilang essential oils cost?
So ilang-ilang essential oil, it depends on the grade and it depends on the positioning of the product. So in our case, around about $1,000 per kilo.
That's considerable. And how much land do you need to produce a liter of this essential botanical?
Sure. So today we have 25 hectares of ilang-ilang plantation in Zambales. They pick the flowers every day. We do the distillation every day, and so it's certainly one of the botanicals that we'd like to scale. It's very good for community engagement and community development, and it really highlights the Philippines' origin. Beyond the elemi and the ilang, we also produce vetiver oil. So vetiver is the grass.
Grass, yes. It's one of my favorite fragrances, actually, vetiver.
Yes,
and this is grown. Actually, you don't have to take care of it, right?
We do take a little bit of care of it because we really want to maximize the yield of the roots and also the oil. But it's one that's relatively easy to grow. It's typhoon resilient. We actually plant on the lahar in Zambales.
Yes, and it's good for erosion.
Very good for erosion.
Yes, but of course, there's a lot of big brands that use some of these essential oils, vetiver, also the elemi products, and ilang-ilang brands such as Chanel and Don Papa use that, and some gin brands, in fact, as part of the flavor and fragrance of their products. How did they tap into your company to, of course, to trade?
So this industry that we supply into is very well established, going back many, many, many decades. So these are large companies that make flavors or fragrances for consumer goods. We're the first to do it with Philippines Botanicals. So what we present is a superior quality from the Philippines, best practice supply chain, a very impactful. I call it integrated sustainability. So we work very closely with the community as partners. And so that's the recipe for getting the attention of the global market.
Let's talk about the community and your partnership with the indigenous tribes up in Zambales, which actually, my childhood, I've always interacted with them, going to Pampanga where my family is from. So this is quite close to my heart. What is the partnership like between these amazing indigenous tribes?
So we work in a number of ways. Initially, we started out by providing steady and stable employment. That was why we were starting to scale our operations. Beyond that, it's now expanded where we do a lot of non-profit activities. So we do development of the schools, water systems, things like this. The strategy is not just to provide employment, it's also to generally uplift the community and the local area. We're now moving to a model where we'll partner with the indigenous, where we'll actually have them grow the botanicals and we'll buy the outputs from them. So rather than just providing a job.
That's interesting. So you teach them how to produce, basically, or to plant the botanicals, teach them how to harvest, of course, handle it, and then you buy it from them.
Very much.
So it's really basically a circular economy.
Very, very much. Very much. And you see a massive uplift in the quality of their life, their general. The people are very happy to be working with us, and they're fantastic partners.
Let's talk Agarwood. This is essentially, mind the pun, why I asked you to come on the show, because I was watching a documentary in Agarwood and how it's become close to extinct.
Correct.
What is your program with Agarwood?
Sure. So Agarwood is a critically endangered tree species. So it grows right across South Asia, including in the Philippines. It grows in the wild forest of the Philippines. But since 1995, it's been restricted for trade. The value of wild agarwood can be as much as $100,000 per kilo,
Yes.
as you mentioned. It only occurs in a very, very small number of the trees. There's a unique process that a tree that gets injured or stressed starts to produce this dark heartwood, and that's when
Correct.
it has the value. But because it can be so lucrative, it's led to a lot of poaching and smuggling.
Yes,
and things
because
like that.
I've seen as in like Vietnam, which produces also some agarwood, and also in Malaysia. In Vietnam, they've faced a very big problem because it's basically gone.
Correct.
And in the Philippines, it's endemic to the Philippines as well.
It is. It's indigenous. So
Indigenous,
So
rather.
we have naturally occurring agarwood in the Philippines, same species that will also grow in Malaysia, India, and
Right.
elsewhere. So since its classification as an endangered species, it's now highly restricted for trade. So it means you can trade in agarwood as long as you haven't taken it from the forest, as long as
Right.
you haven't collected the seeds from the forest. You have to grow it in a plantation with a special license from DNR, and then there's a process that you can sort of artificially stimulate
The
the tree.
inoculation process. Yeah,
That's
okay.
it.
And what's the use for agarwood?
Agarwood has a very large market, particularly in the Middle East. So the wood product itself, the wood chips, is consumed as part of society. It's sort of a part of their culture. It's in the Quran.
Actually, I use it.
Fantastic.
It's an amazing product.
It's a beautiful, beautiful scent. Beyond that, there's also a market for the oil. So the oil is produced from the lower quality chips.
This is oud, right?
This is oud. And
Yes.
so oud is also consumed in the Middle East, but also in the Western fragrance industry. So today, it's very popular for fragrances to have oud as a sort of a hero scent. And so these brands, Chanel, Dior, Tom Ford, and the like, these are brands that we're already working with our other botanicals. So we plan on supplying the agarwood chips into the Middle East and the oud oil into the Western fragrance.
Right, but let's go talk about agarwood a little bit more after this break. Please stay tuned and stay right here on Trade Talks.
Every day, new stories are being served. The freshest takes. The stories that everyone's talking about. The Daily Dish makes sure you don't miss a thing.
Only here on the Billionaire News Channel.
In a fast-changing digital world, relevant news plus the latest information still matter. And you've found your new go-to source for the morning essentials, plus the midday information, plus the prime time news. Billionario News Channel is now the most viewed news channel on Samsung TV Plus. Thank you for keeping us on top. China Barachina and Robert Tan. Follow the money, 4:30 p.m. on BNC, the Billionario News Channel.
Welcome back to Trade Talks, and we continue our very fragrant conversation with Ben Mead of Iba Botanicals here at the High Life. So, Ben, I'm very interested in asking you a lot about the agarwood industry because you're actually one of the first legally accredited companies to grow agarwood in the Philippines. And not only that, you've also expanded to different other farmers and collaborators around the country. Tell me what you're doing differently to make sure that agarwood is a sustainable industry in the Philippines.
Sure. So you're correct. We are the first company to get the license to do legal agarwood plantations. We continue to be the leader of the industry. Since getting the license, we've now planted in 20 provinces of the Philippines. We work with private planters. If people have their own land and they want to plant, we assist them not just in supplying the seedlings, but the whole life cycle of technical support. Just having the tree is not the secret to success. You really have to grow it well and then also inoculate it using the proper technology.
Right. What's the process from seedling to a harvestable tree?
Sure.
How long does it take?
Sure. So what we're doing in a plantation is we're mimicking what happens in the wild. So we're growing it and then we're injuring the tree. Instead of it being 1 or 2% of trees having the ood, it's 100% of the trees. So you grow it on a plantation setting, and then once the tree reaches a certain minimum size,
right,
around 20 centimeters in diameter, then we inoculate the tree.
And how long is that process? How many years?
It depends on where you grow the tree. So agarwood will grow just about anywhere, but if you grow it in an environment where there's good soil,
yes,
not too intense heat, either irrigation or regular rainfall, you'll reach that size, we estimate, within about 4 to 5 years.
So if you've got like land that's not being utilized for different for another purpose, you can essentially just plant agarwood and just let it grow, right? And then 4 years later, it's actually better than putting your money in the bank, right? For interest rates. But how big of a plot do you need to grow and earn from agarwood planting?
Sure, and just to clarify, after the tree reaches the size, you do the inoculation. It's around 1 year later where you harvest the tree.
So about 5 to 6
years, which is very good and a very attractive tree to grow as long as you follow the practices, as long as you listen to our experts, and as long as you use the right technology to inoculate the tree.
Okay, so after the tree's inoculated and it's now ready for harvesting, what happens then?
So after the tree's harvested, then the ood, the dark heartwood, is extracted, and then we essentially buy it back, and then we'll supply that to our markets. So the reason why we're doing this is that we want to grow consistent high volume of agarwood from around the Philippines. Instead of one person doing one thing, one person doing another thing, the inoculation technology you use will give you a different outcome on the quality of the agarwood. So by working with people in a very structured way, we can supply a higher volume of premium quality agarwood into the global market. And by doing that, we can command a higher price. So really, that's the reason why we're doing this initiative.
So what's the goal here? How many tons of agarwood do you want to process in the next couple of years?
We plan to plant around 300 to 500 hectares of agarwood per year. We know that we could plant more than that. The demand,
it's quite ambitious, I have to say.
It is, but it's also achievable, and it's important that that we don't try and focus on goals that we can't reach. So we think 300 to 500 hectares is certainly achievable. To date, we have around 250 hectares that are already planted, but scaling up quite considerably. Apart from working with private planters, so you asked a question about the size of the plantation.
Yes.
So for a private land, a private partner, we require 5 hectares, because I will assign my employees to be on that site during the plantation establishment and then visit as often as is required to make sure that the plantation's a success. For smaller areas, let's say you want to plant 1 hectare, we have a managed plantation in Bukidnon. And so this is phase 1, 116 hectares, but we're scaling up by another 800 hectares minimum. What we do is we plant it, we geotag the tree so you know exactly what trees are yours, and then we essentially perform the plantation management service. And so what that means is that people who are interested in agarwood, but they don't want the headache of managing the people, was the fertilizer applied, or did the farm worker put it somewhere else?
Yes.
Essentially, we apply those absolute best practices to your trees, but we plant it on our land in Bukidnon. And Bukidnon is absolutely the best location for growing agarwood because of the soil, the altitude, the weather. It's not too hot. When they're young, they like it to be a little bit cool. And regular rainfall. So we see growth in Bukidnon of agarwood. We benchmarked it around Asia, and we have a PhD in agarwood on the staff who's worked in a number of countries. The growth we see for agarwood,
a herbologist,
a forester.
A forester, all right.
She's worked extensively around Asia. The growth we're seeing of agarwood in Bukidnon is the best by far.
Have you been able to harvest since you started planting?
We haven't yet. So we first got the license in late 2021. So our first major planting was in 2022. So we're about 3 years into the process.
How exciting. So by
Very
2027, I hope to have you back on the show. You show me your first crop of agarwood.
Very exciting.
Yes,
Very exciting.
and you know, this deforestation is a major problem in our country. What areas do you want to concentrate on planting agarwood?
So for our own corporate plantations and for our managed plantations, we're very much focused in Bukidnon, simply because the conditions there are just so fantastic.
Right.
The chairman of the company, also the former DA Secretary Cito Lorenzo, he has extensive land holdings in Bukidnon, and so we're working to develop those lands. When it comes to third-party planters, it doesn't really matter where your land is. Agarwood will grow. You just have to take care of it properly. Maybe you have to use irrigation. And so when people come to me and they say, I have 5 hectares of land, it's in Pangasinan, I want to plant it, absolutely we can plant that. But we also offer Bukidnon as an alternative if you want a lower stress approach in that we'll take care of it for you.
So is it, okay, so you basically you lease the property in Bukidnon?
So we have extensive land holdings in Bukidnon.
Right.
And so if you wanted to plant, but you wanted us to plant it for you, we would plant it in Bukidnon. We would geotag the trees. What that means is that every single tree has a GPS reference.
So it's like basically like
It's like a service.
yes,
It's
a service or a co-working space that's agriculturally inclined, right?
Very similar. And what's great about it is that we have our best staff there every day. They live on site. We take care of the permitting, we take care of the labor issues, we take care of all of those variables. So for people who are interested in agri but don't necessarily want to get their hands dirty, it's a really nice program.
Right.
And we're seeing huge engagement with this, not just from Filipinos, sometimes with landed Filipinos, so they also plant their own land, but they also want us to plant for them, but also OFWs and foreigners. So
yeah, that's great. Talking about OFWs, how much would it essentially cost for the service?
So it depends on the number of seedlings that you want to start with.
There's a minimum?
The minimum is 125 seedlings.
Okay.
And so essentially there's 2 components. So there's the cost of the tree, which includes the use of the land, security, and everything like that, as well as a mortality guarantee. So if the tree dies for any reason during the first 3 years,
so
we
got
give a
insurance.
replacement. Yes. So it's 1,200 per seedling. And then we also charge an annual maintenance fee for the seedlings. The demand is very strong, though, so we do have a price increase coming up shortly. But
well, congratulations!
Thank you.
In your operations in Bukidnon, how many tons or kilos or whatever scale you want to put it in, are you expecting to harvest in 2027, 2028?
Sure. So on 1 hectare of land, we can plant 2,500 seedlings.
Okay.
So that's 2 meters by 2 meters, which is regarded as the optimal spacing. I use conservative numbers for my modeling because I always want to be surprised rather than disappointed. So we work off a base case of 2 kilos
per hectare?
Per tree.
Per tree?
Yes.
Oh.
And we expect at a minimum to see 100,000 pesos per kilo.
Wow.
So
that's quite lucrative.
It is, and it's very attractive.
To take care.
It is. But the important point is not everybody can do this. The critical factors are not only having the legal and certified seedlings, it's growing it with the right practices.
Right.
It's using the right inoculation technology,
Right.
and we've licensed technology from the University of Malaysia, which is the world best. We have it exclusively for the Philippines. And then it's also the connection to the market. So if you don't have a way to penetrate the market, you're dealing with traders, they're going to give you a lower price. And so it is very attractive as long as all the variables come together. If you lose some of those foundations, let's say you don't have the right inoculation technology, or you buy an unproven inoculation technology, because there's a lot of people running around trying to sell their secret sauce because they're trying to make money,
of course,
rather than focused on the output.
Right.
And so,
yes, talking about scents and sensibilities.
Yes.
I heard that you donate 100 pesos per seedling that is that's giving back to your foundation. Is that correct?
Correct.
And where does this go to?
So we do, as I mentioned earlier, we do community development projects. And so right now we have a number of programs undergoing with the local schools in Bukidnon. So these are Indigenous schools. So from building classrooms to building kitchens in the school and providing food so that every day these kids can eat. If you give a child food every day for lunch, you're going to have close to 100% attendance rate, because a lot of these kids don't go to school because they don't have baon. And so this is a major thing we can do that's quite simple. Cook a hot meal and give it to the kids.
I salute you for that. And of course, my last few questions, Ben. What is your worst investment?
My worst investment? The stock market.
Okay. What's your best investment?
And I say the stock market because I'm not somebody who likes to do something just for money.
Right.
You know, like I like to do something tangible. I
It
like
has
to
to be
create
purposeful.
and deliver.
Yeah,
Yeah. So when I've invested in the stock market, it's because I've had a recommendation, so I followed it. But there's always somebody smarter than you on the other side, and so I don't invest in the stock market anymore. Yeah. What I invest is tangible things that I can touch and grow.
Correct.
And
So I
deliver.
guess that's not digital art for you. What's your best investment?
To be honest, agriculture in the Philippines.
Nice.
It's a really exciting and unique opportunity that we have. It's difficult. It's especially difficult when you're the first to do it, but the natural resources of this country are immense. When I came here, I thought that agriculture in the Philippines didn't have potential because the farmers were poor. It wasn't until I went into the field and spent time with them and understood that the soil is good, the climate is good, the system is broken. That's why people growing rice or growing other food crops aren't successful. But if you can focus on premium agricultural outputs from the Philippines, highlight them as being of Philippines origin, and supply them with absolute best practices, high quality, and in a very credible way, it's extremely lucrative.
Profitable. What's your favorite mistake?
My favorite mistake? That's a really good question.
Aside from inoculating trees.
So back to my stock market comment. My favorite mistake is that when I was 17 years old in Australia, my father was quite a successful restaurateur. And one of his very close friends ran the biggest stockbroking firm in Australia. And I was studying finance and law. And he said to me, okay, finish your finance degree and then come and sit next to me, and then I'll give you my portfolio when I retire.
Oh, here we go.
And so here you go. Now, I didn't do that. I ran off to Europe and went backpacking and had a fantastic time and floated on the breeze. However, it's led me to where I am today. So it is very much my favorite mistake, yes.
Thank you so much, Ben, for introducing us to the world of Agarwood and botanicals here in the Philippines.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And that is it for today's show. I'm Ferdy Salvador. Catch the Billionaire News channel on Free TV, Channel 31, and on cable via Signal Channel 24. Thanks for watching the Billionaire News channel, always on top.
In a world full of noise, Billionario News Channel brings you clarity. We go beyond the headlines, welcoming one of the highest voices in the land. No robes, no gavels, just truth. Fairness, because here, integrity isn't just reported, it's invited. Billionario News Channel. Real talk, real justice. Watch it unfold.
You have been our sunrise, beautiful people, for 365 days and counting.
Yes, you heard that right. 365 days of laughter, 365 days of deep dive and good vibes, with latest news and conversations.